Well, hello everyone. This is Terry Polish, the Global Engineering Advisor at Carbo Ceramics, and welcome to another installment of our ongoing series entitled Results from the Field. Today we'll be talking about our CARBONRT, or our non-radioactive detectable proppant technology again. But in this particular case, we're going to look at a unique application in which we use the technology to actually detect cement in a remedial cement job. So as we normally do, we're going to go ahead and just review the features of NRT first, or the product. Again, this is a non-radioactive traceable proppant. It uses an inert tracer. That tracer is not radioactive, it doesn't require any special handling, and there's no change to the MSDS sheet because of it. We add this tracer during the manufacturing process, so it goes into every grain, either in a low concentration in the case of an NRT, or in a higher concentration in the case of NRT Ultra, in which we're going to mix it in with another proppant. It does not wash away because it's sintered into the pellet, so it's there for the life of the proppant. It can be detected using a pulsed neutron or a compensated neutron log. You can see the separation here. The yellow represents where we see an NRT, so you'd have a frac height in this case of about here down to about here. And again, this has been used for the last 10 to 15 years in hundreds of applications worldwide to detect proppant. So the benefits of NRT in its proppant detection is that it can provide you the frac height or the proppant placement, perhaps in the case of a horizontal well. It can also detect cement. And that's what we're going to be talking about today is its use in detection of cement. Now it's inert. Again, there's no special handling. If you take it to your bulk plant, your cement bulk plant, or wherever, there's nothing special that has to be done with it. It doesn't have a half-life, so it can be stored and used whenever you need it. And then, of course, as we said before, from a proppant standpoint, it does not change the proppant properties, doesn't impact your conductivity. And again, we can integrate it into any of the proppants that you wish to use. So looking at the cement detection side of things a little bit more specifically, so when we're using NRT in the case of detecting cement, we typically blend it into your cement at very low concentrations, anywhere from 5 to 10% by volume. Just kind of depends on whether we're going to use the Ultra version or the NRT version. Multiple tests have been done now on its impact on cement properties, and so far it does not affect your cement properties at the concentrations we've looked at. And the key here is it can be detected through multiple strings of pipes. So again, that neutron log can detect the NRT whether you have one string of pipe or multiple strings. In those strings, even if you have cement or don't have cement, you can see it. So, a typical CBL or USIT log is going to have a problem if you have ringing pipe, if you will, between where you're measuring and what you're trying to detect. So let's talk a little bit about the remedial well operation. This is a well that is in North America, and the NRT was used to detect cement. So this particular well was a horizontal well, or is a horizontal well. At the time, the well was making about 100 MCF a day, but the problem is that the surface casing built pressure. Basically, the annular space between the intermediate and the surface casing built pressure to about 250 psi. They could bleed the pressure off, but when they did so, it would produce fluid. So obviously there was a problem with their communication, probably at the 9 5/8 shoe. So what they proposed to do was to bullhead cement down the annular space between the intermediate and the surface, and then hopefully somehow log it through the production tubing to be able to prove or determine whether they got a good cement bond. Unfortunately, conventional cement bond logs would not work in this particular configuration because of the open pipe. You have top of cement of the intermediate here, you have top of cement at the production casing here. So you were going to have to, and then of course you had the production tubing. So the CBL just was not going to be able to detect cement through these multiple strings. So what we proposed to do was add 10% 4070 NRT to the cement slurry. It would be added at the bulk plant beforehand, and then it would be brought out to location slurried up. Then the idea would be to run a pulse neutron log through the tubing. We'd run it before and after, so we'd have a difference, which is kind of our standard way we measure NRT in a propped fracture. And then we would go ahead and evaluate those logs, and hopefully, if the modeling was correct, we would be able to prove that we see NRT, which then would prove that you have cement across your problem zone. Now, this is all documented in OTC paper 2051166. If you want to refer to that for some additional information on NRT or in this particular application. So let's look at the results. So we're looking at the log and the casing well schematic here. So we did add 4070 NRT at 10% by volume. The cement, of course, was successfully bowhead down the annular space. And then we ran, like I said before, pre and post frac neutron logs. And what you can see, so first of all, in the pre and post frac log, this represents your NRT response. So this is your difference between the two. So you have NRT down to about 680 feet, which would suggest then that the cement that you bullheaded in there was placed down to 680 feet. It also appears that you have really pretty good coverage here, so you have a really pretty good bond. And of course, at 680 feet, you're well below the casing shoe of the 9 5/8. Now, the production log, or the neutron log, excuse me, was run through multiple strings of pipe, so it was run through the production tubing, and it did successfully produce these results like we'd hoped and expected. After the fact, of course, they brought the well in production. They did not see any more pressure, annular pressure, after they did the job. This log, as well as that operational success, was passed on to the regulatory agency, and based on these results, the agency approved the continued production of the well. Now, I just want to look at one other application. This is not in the same field. It's not even the same operator, but it is in North America, and it's a horizontal well. And what they wanted to do was they just wanted to see whether they could put NRT in a lead cement stage and see the interface with the tail if they didn't put NRT in the tail. So that's what they did. What you can see, of course, you would have bullheaded the cement down, or pumped the cement down, excuse me, circulated back up. And so this represents the lead cement to surface. And you can see a very clear distinction between the tail and the lead. And this matched very well the calculations of where you would have expected that interface to be. So by putting NRT in the lead, you can see how the lead cement bond looked, and you could see the interface between the two. Now, one other thing I do want to point out here is that we only ran the post-frac neutron log. After we had done the job that I showed you previously, we did some additional modeling, and based on what we saw in the results, we confirmed that we can detect cement using just a post-frac pulse neutron log. So that also was proven in this particular example. So let me just close with a quick summary. Again, our NRT proppant tracer technology can be used to provide top of cement or cement quality, cement coverage. It utilizes an inert tracer. It's not radioactive. There's no special handling. There's no half-life. It can be stored and used whenever needed. We typically have seen it added at the cement bulk plant and brought out to location ready to go, but it could be blended on site if that's what you prefer. So far, it does not affect any cement properties. The operator typically does testing to be sure, but we have not seen any issues so far. And again, the key application or the key issue here is that it can be detected through multiple strings of pipe using a standard neutron log. Now, so far, we've field proven this in multiple wells. I've shown you a couple today. And again, we can. The real advantage here is, there are a lot of applications, particularly now in our horizontal wells, where conventional CBL or usage just does not seem to be working. In fact, we have an application being planned with an operator in the Permian as we speak, in which they're going to pump the NRT into a cement slurry that's an ultra lightweight slurry, which they typically have problems seeing the cement bond using a standard CBL or usage. So, we have that one on the horizon, and we believe it's going to be quite successful. So let me just close by reminding you that if you have any other questions or would like to have more information about NRT, or NRT cement, or any of our other technologies, please go to our website, www.carboceramics.com. Or if you'd like more information on Stratagen, our field consulting, or FracPro, our frac modeling software. All of that can be found at our website. And of course, as usual, if you would like to reach out to me directly, please feel free to do so. I can answer any questions that you may have about this or any of our other technologies. And with that, I want to wish everybody a good day.